My name is Dr. Brent Anderson, and I'm a physical therapist and from California originally, currently reside in Miami, Florida. I moved down there about 15 years ago to get my doctorate in physical therapy, and my studies were in the benefits of Pilates as a movement integration with chronic low back pain. The first time I came across Pilates in my life, I was in physical therapy school in San Francisco back in 1987. And a teacher I was taking ballet class from said that I should check out Pilates. And I went to St. Francis Hospital where Patrice Whiteside and Elizabeth Larkham were working and developing the dance medicine center that was Dr. James Garrick, and quickly learned it was pronounced Pilates. And got turned on to it there while I was going to PT school, and have been deep in the Pilates work ever since. So going on 20 plus years. Polestar Pilates, funny enough, came about in the early 1990s, and everybody was being sued that used the word Pilates. So we were looking for a word that had a P, an L, an A, an E, and we found and came up with the word Polestar. And actually it's been very sticky for us. Polestar is the North Star, the guiding star. And our emphasis is really being a guiding star, leader in the area of Pilates for rehabilitation and post-rehabilitation. And most people know us for being Pilates for rehabilitation. A lot of times people ask me, where do I get the balance between the science and the spirituality that is often experienced with Polestar practitioners? And I think a lot of that has to do with even my religious upbringing as a child, and having a chance to serve a mission for the Mormon Church in Spain. Always feeling like I was wearing two hats. I was in the scientific, everything was evidence-based, prove the science, and then I'd put on a different hat, and it was, go do a spiritual healing and be guided, revelation, spiritually fed, and those kind of things. And it was always switching these hats back and forth. And I remember about 10 years ago, I realized, Polestar is my company, and I could combine them and do what I really believed in, which where I believe there's room for both the scientific and the spirituality, that they do blend. And I think it was Dr. Carol Davis said, in every great science, it's always witchcraft first, and then it becomes clinically tried, and then eventually we submit it to research and it becomes evidence-based. And so when I heard that, I realized, I know that the spirituality is really the essence of happiness. I mean, we're being in harmony with the universe is where happiness is found. And the more I studied Pilates and sort of his philosophy and realized his guiding principles were talking about the balance of body, mind, and spirit, and that happiness, the very first requisite of happiness was being physically fit, and that then that balance of executing our daily activities and those things with that perfect balance of mind and body were so important. I realized we're talking the same thing. Then studying with Deepak Chopra's group and realizing from Ayurvedic medicine how yoga is the physical meditation and manifestation of body, mind, and spirit. And then you have nutrition, and then you have meditation, and you combine those. And to me, I started realizing that the work that we do deeply integrates the physical and the spiritual and the mental for the whole person. And what I was interested in was touching the whole person and being the whole person. I get asked all the time, who is Pilates for? And especially in the rehabilitation world, are there people who cannot do Pilates? And there's a very few select cases that people actually, I would say, could not do Pilates at this time, in the sense of maybe getting on the machines or the exercises. But the philosophy of Pilates is for everybody. And the real question is who cannot benefit from Pilates? And the answer that I give to that is somebody who doesn't want to try it. Because really I found, whether I'm working with a patient with advanced stage Parkinson's disease, or a stroke, or somebody that suffered paralysis, they all have benefited from doing the method of Joseph and Clara Pilates. And we can create in this beautiful Pilates environment activities that eliminate gravity, that assist movement. And even when people don't even have consciousness, like patients with Alzheimer's disease, do great in Pilates because the rest of their body still has consciousness and still needs movement. They still have lymphatic fluid, they still have circulation, they still have muscles and tendons. And even if they don't have volitional control over those things, by moving them through space, which Pilates allows us to do, restores health. It makes it easier for the caregiver. It allows them psychologically to feel like they're actually doing something, accomplishing something, when in many cases, in other environments, there's no way that they can jump on a treadmill or go swimming in a swimming pool or do those kind of things, where the Pilates environment allows them to do it. So in short, I tell people everybody can benefit from Pilates, and even down to the basic breathing exercises. And movement facilitates breath, breath facilitates movement. We integrate the two of them. That's a basic fundamental principle of Joseph Pilates. If there was one thing that I could encourage Pilates teachers to be aware of, is that we need to continue being Pilates enthusiasts. Me, like probably everybody else, has gone through the ebb and flow of actively being an enthusiast and taking class, and then going through the lull of being the teacher. And I think it's important that we need to be the example of Joseph's work. I think Joseph was very disciplined. When we look at the healthcare industry today, we have really relinquished the discipline and the responsibility to be healthy. We've relinquished that responsibility to the government, to our employers, to pharmaceutical, to the insurance companies, and we expect them to take care of us and to provide us with health so that we can be reckless, if I may say that, in what we eat and what we do, in the things that we allow ourselves to participate in. And not just talking about nutrition and pollution of the air, but things where we pollute our minds. And Joseph was, when you read his teachings, Joseph Pilates was very much interested in what we did for ourselves, how we disciplined our mind and our body. And when we allow ourselves to listen to horrible news and to accept things that really shouldn't be accepted in our culture and our lives, that also is pollution to our spirit and to our soul. And to me, probably one of the most important things that comes from Pilates is that concept of whole body commitment that Joseph talked about. And it's our ability to commit to be the best that we can be. It doesn't matter what life has dealt you. It doesn't matter where you are today. It's what you do with what you have. And it's not comparing yourself to other people. It's comparing yourself, am I a better person today than I was yesterday? And what do I have to do tomorrow to be a better person than I am today? And it's that type of responsibility and discipline that really brings happiness to people. All of the research that we've done to date, we've incorporated measures of quality of life. How do you perceive the quality of your life? Are you able to do the things that you believe in your heart you should be able to do right now at your age in your state? And if you're not, then you're missing something. And what we're probably missing, and I know in my case sometimes, is the discipline to do what we can do to maximize our potential. And that potential could be an 80-year-old woman being able to bend her knees to get a grandchild out of a bathtub, or it could be an elite athlete that wants to come back and make one more try at being a pro ball player. That is irrelevant. The level of performance that we believe that we should be able to do is what's important. And to be victims of the healthcare system telling us what we can't do, and that we feel and believe that we're helpless and that we're reliant on pharmaceuticals and those kind of things, is giving up. And what we want to teach you is, take charge of your life. Joseph talked about whole body health being the balance between your exercise, your nutrition, good hygiene, plenty of sleep, a balance between work, play, and rest. And that's the formula. It's simple. It's something that is attainable. You don't need to be wealthy to be able to do those things. And we need to disseminate that information to the world at large. We need our children to do that. We need our prisoners in prison to do that. We need our military people doing it, so that we have this heightened consciousness socially. Deepak Chopra said that the conversion into a peaceful state is going to be one person at a time, that individual transformation of peace. And that's my wish, is that as we discipline ourselves, we heighten our consciousness, that transformation takes place. And when we get to that critical mass, we will have peace. We will have a peaceful world to live in for our kids.